Hello, happy Christmas Eve to those of you who celebrate. It's Erica of Herbal Arts, and we're here for some bat making. It's our Sunday demo. I'm going to fix the tripod because it's a little close together. The gooseneck was being problematic again. We're also going to be doing a little testing today. The camera case phone case finally showed up, and I did not take it out of the case for this, so we'll see if the phone overheats or not. This is sort of a test. I also went for a walk about an hour ago, and I'm a little, worked up a little sweat, but also it's a little damp out. It's supposed to start raining again. Let's see if I can get the camera to, maybe not. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to do some bat making, and I'm going to drink some tea. It's actually a green tea with mint and cucumber in it. Quite yummy. Tea Forte, and in my Cath Kidston mug. That's one of the ones that I bought in Europe, back in England, and managed to get back in one piece in my suitcase. Okay, so I'm just checking the drum real quick before we get started, because I haven't cleaned it since the last time I used it, and I think I got a little bit of fiber, so I'm just gonna go through and check. Got a few spots where the teeth are a little unaligned. So we're just going to fix those. And I'm just doing that by running the knitting needle in between the teeth. You got to do it with a knitting needle that is small enough. It should not be bigger than the space between. And so, in some cases, I'm only using the tip. Okay, I think I got most of those. I think those were the bad bits. Though I think the last color I made on here was very similar to what we're making today. So, okay, I think I got the worst bits. Okay, yeah. So I'm not sure being Christmas Eve how many people are going to show up, but you can, if you're watching this later as a replay. Hope you had a great holiday. Okay, so our base is going to be some Rambouillet from Esther's Place. And can you see the tonals there? We got teal and green, blue, and so forth. Okay. We're going to supplement it with a little bit of this. Make sure I get this right. Merino Tessa silk that I just got from Flannel Cake Fibers. We're going to throw in some. It's indigo, but definitely you can tell indigo is in the purple family here. Instead of blue, this is Bio Nylon. I've got some blue Firestar. And I've got some silk from Esther's Place. It's mulberry silk. It's sort of purples into blues. And then I thought I would try, if you watched my video yesterday, I opened up my, also the same order that came with the Merino Tessa silk. I also had a cellulose fiber sampler from Tanya at Flannel Cake Fibers. And so it was sort of a pastel one. So I pulled out the bluest one they have, which is this very light blue. Okay. And this is Rami. Okay. Rami? I can't remember how it's pronounced. Which is, obviously cellulose, particularly was... I think originally grown in Korea. Now I think it's grown a lot other places. I've seen some really cool videos of prepping. You can tell the women who work in that field because they have all these slices on their fingertips because it's really strong. It's not particularly cuddly, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I'm gonna drink a little more tea and then we'll get started. I'm also keeping an eye on to see if I have low connection or anything like that. My day's been pretty quiet today. I slept late, which is great. Though Heloise was bugging me a little bit. She's like, is it breakfast time yet? Get up and give me breakfast, or I'm gonna lie on top of you and fall asleep. So that's what she did. I'm trying to train her because I move around at night. And so usually she lies on my torso. And usually when I first got her, it was head up here. And so I was getting her whiskers and her ear floofs, like in my mouth and my nose and my ear and stuff like that. So now she turns around, and so I get butt end here and sort of feet and head are down the other end. But when I usually, that's how I start out the night, but I usually like to sleep on my side. And so I'm trying to train her to like get off but not run away when I roll over. And usually I usually go, we've got a noise. It's beep beep. Beep beep means move. And she knows this. And so I'm trying to train her to get off me and just stay there for a second while I readjust to the side, and then she gets on me and she sleeps. Usually what she does is she sits on my hip, and then she needs this part of me, and then she walks up and turns around and sits here, and then lies down, sort of feet going that way. Sometimes I just wake up and she's on me like that. So, okay, let's get you set up over the screen. Sorry, I realized I hadn't done that yet. Been a little crooked, but I think we're just going to live with it like that. Okay, there we go. Yes, I apologize for the not quite straight on there. As I said, I've been fighting with the gooseneck there. Okay, so there's our Rambouillet going down for a nice base layer. Now let's pull some of this Marina Tussa. And I think I'm going to try this as a painting on. Okay, it just feels super, super soft to me, and I'm just scared of creating knots. So what I want to do is sort of create these streaks. So it will barber pull a bit when you spin it. So there's that. Okay, let's do some of the silk. Just pull off a piece of this mulberry silk. There's just a little accent. Little squeaky. I'm going to do a video on New Year's Day on cleaning your drum carder. So I'm not cleaning them up quite yet. So this is the rim. You can see, pretty long staple here. Super long staple. I'm really long staple. Okay, I'm starting to pull apart now. Just a little bit. That's like the staple length. Okay. So we're not going to use a lot of this. It's going to feel really weird with the shorter staple. So we're just putting like a little accent in there. Okay, and now we're going to pop this purple, this indigo, this purple. And I think that's really going to make a nice contrast. There we go. And then we'll put on some of the fire starter. Yeah, so I slept in, and then I'm going to take this lighter stuff and set it aside. I want to use the darker here. And not get any in my tea. Yeah, actually, I was doing a demo on Wednesday in Wafa, and I actually had to stop because the screws over here had come loose, and it was just making a mess of the bat. And normally I keep a screwdriver over here, and I didn't have it with me, so I had to end the video and figure out where I'd put it. And I finally found it. So the when it happens again, and it was these there's two adjustments over here because this handle can move all sorts of ways. So that's back in there now for when I need it. Okay, so I think that's gotten us through a layer. I don't think it's feeling like a silk noil type of bat. So I think we have put in everything we want to put in there. Okay, so it's time to start layering on. So the other things I did, so there is a little bit of something over here. Looks like some silk noil from the last bat I made. go. Yeah, so I spent some time, messaging with my sister. Got this really cool. She ordered herself. She'd heard about what had happened at Woolen Folk, and she found a vendor who had been there, who of course had the disaster of being at Woolen Folk. And it was someone who came over from the UK, and so she checked out their website and she ordered something from them. And my sister likes pink, okay? Though usually not like baby pink. She's like a fuchsia type of person. And she ordered have a very pink Christmas box or something like that. And so it had like pink different shades of pink minis in it. But also came with like stitch markers and little notion things, and tea, Yorkshire tea, because I gather the artist is in Yorkshire, and so she had to my sister's not much of a tea drinker, so she had to contact me and ask about, hello Amy, Merry Christmas to you too. So she was like, so my they're on the side of, it was Yorkshire tea, which is like a really good, strong British tea. And she wanted to make sure she was understanding the brewing pictograms on the side, because she's a coffee drinker. And so she wanted to make sure she was understanding how to drink it. And I warned her it was going to be probably kind of strong. Okay, so once again, this is the Ramy. Again, we're just using a little bit of it because it's just going to give some texture. Okay. Let's see. Let's add in some more of this merino with tussa silk in it. So that was kind of fun. Hello, Andrew, and hello, Elizabeth. We got people from Florida. We got people from Oregon. Amy, I don't know where you're from, but okay. And so that is just me packing things down. For those of you who don't know, this is the burnishing brush, and you can see the needles are bent. Okay, and so I like to lead from this side so that it just packs down. The tips aren't encountering the fiber, versus if I went this way, the fiber's going to get a bit more abraded. So this way's much softer. So that's why I do it that way. Okay, so back to the indigo bio nylon. We're not going to use all of this that I just grabbed off of this. Just a little bit. I really like the way the purple acts with that. Okay. Do I have anything else over here? No, because I moved that over here. Okay, so that's that layer done. Yeah, so I had a nice time chatting with my sister. She started a new knitting project, so sending me photos of that. Oh yeah, my tea's still warm. Yay! It's like 50 degrees here, so, which is really, I mean, my one or two of you I think are Facebook friends with me, and my memories were coming up, last 3 days ago. Last year it was, with the wind chill, it was like negative 40 degrees. The air temperature was like negative 12 or something. It was like so cold. And so I'm like, I'm liking the 50 degree. Feels really weird to have a brown Christmas, but it is what it is. And it's going to rain. It rained this morning. It's going to rain again later. But I was able to use the break in the rain to get the last of the show stuff out of Esmeralda and into the basement. So my goal for this coming probably 2 weeks is going to be to get the basement organized, but also get my condo a bit more organized. I've decided on some more shelving units that I want to get. So that was the Rambouillet. We're back to, am I using some top? Yeah, so this is, I'm pretty sure this is a top. Let me see if I can find a bag for this. It says, yeah, it doesn't say whether it's top or not, but I can pretty much tell this is a top. The Rambouillet, I think is, let's see if I have a Rambouillet tag around. Yeah, it is top. The Rambouillet is a top as well. You know me, I like top. So, but this is the one from Flannel Cakes that I got. So this is the Merino Tussy Silk. I'm going to put a little bit more on. So, in about a week, I'll do the big clean for Sebastian, and I'll do it live. I may do, I don't know if I'm going to do it in Wafa or if I'll probably do it in Wafa. Most of you are in Wafa, so thank you. I think it's pretty too. I really like the way the purple sort of kicks it up a notch. Okay, so a little more silk. Yeah, so not a lot of silk. I mean, there's the silk in that, whatever color they're going to call that. She called it Aurora something or other. Okay, and then the Rami. Once again, super, super long staple. That's like pretty much staple length. And then we'll put some Firestar on. So yeah, so I was able to get everything out of the trunk and the back seat of the car and into the basement, and then I went for a walk. So that was kind of nice. It was just like me and the geese. I passed one couple. There was one boat on the river. I don't know my boat types. I'm not a boat person. But it was essentially a fishing boat because they sort of pulled into because the main our river, the river right in front of me, up just a little ways that way, divides for an island, and the main current is sort of over here. But there's a couple little sort of they're not inlets, but they're like little bays, tiny, but they sort of had pulled more in there so they weren't in the current, and they had one of these stands with multiple fishing rods out on it. So that was, they were doing their fishing. I'm actually surprised because the plaza behind me, which has a, actually I'm not surprised. The water it's not the water treatment, but the turbine thing is right here. Here's the plaza. And then there's like where the water comes out of the turbine stuff in this channel that then meets up a little further down with the rest of the river. But the river is so low right now. Everything is so low. Usually people just come out onto the sidewalk by the building, and they just sort of stand there and they fish. And I think the water's too low to actually get any fish there. So, anything hellacious? Does that say hellacious? So I don't do a lot of presents. My family is very, very small, and the only person I exchange presents with is my sister. So, and I know exactly what I'm getting because she said she follows my list exactly this year, because she was sick and she the creative juices were not flowing. So I know exactly what I'm getting. But I also have a present from a good friend to open. But that's, and I have two other friends that I do Christmas with, but we do a sort of separate Christmas celebration. It's kind of like a Friendsgiving type of thing. The people I actually went and had Thanksgiving with. And we'll get together sometime in January or February and exchange gifts then. So that's pretty much all I do for presents. So my family is very, very small. So I'm waiting until Monday to open. And actually, one of the presents my sister sent me hasn't gotten here yet. It was supposed to be here by yesterday, but it's trapped in a warehouse in Memphis, it appears. So. Oh, for Halloween, for Christmas. Yeah, so I like how the autocorrect decided. Oh, it's getting dark. Yep, the rain's coming. So I don't really get her presents. One, because her favorite kind of toy is like the top off a bottle. She doesn't like catnip. She won't touch catnip. She doesn't like cat treats. She's a really hard cat to buy for. I was trying to get. I tried out, the sort of cardboard rectangles that are the corrugated cardboard that you use for scratching posts. She won't use one. She has an actual scratching post, right? And it's an old one that belonged to Aristotle and Boethius way back when. And they didn't have claws in the front. She does. So she is sort of shredding it. So I should probably at some point get her a new pole, but it's still pretty good shape. So, she might get a little bit of meat or something. Or if I have something with cheese, I'll give her a couple fingertips worth of cheese. She likes warm cheese. She'll eat that. But she doesn't even really like people food all that much. Unlike Ari, those of you who were around remember hearing about Aristotle. He passed in 2020, so most people, and the beginning of 2020, so most people never got to meet him. He was a very large Maine Coon who liked his food a lot. And so anytime I would have anything roasting in the oven that was meat-based, he would sit right by the oven and cry. And you know how long it takes for a roast to roast, right? He'd just sit there and cry the whole time. Because he was like, where's my food? Where's my food? What was so funny, though, is he absolutely... I was vegan for part of his lifetime. And there were several sort of faux meat things, like chicken grillins, where chicken's not spelled like the word chicken, that are made out of vegetable protein, things like that. But they obviously got the smell component right, because he would sit and beg for those, and they tasted good to him as well. So, of course, Bo, the other cat I had at that time, was also really weird. His favorite food was guacamole. He would I could not leave my guacamole unattended. He would eat it all. And cats are not affected by peppers. That was a cat's one. But my guacamole was never spicy anyways, so. Yeah, he also liked Cheerios. Bo did. They both like donuts. I once caught them stealing my donuts. Not the cake ones, but like the fluffy raised fried ones, which were probably totally not good for them. They didn't really like the outside, but they liked to tear the center out. That not with jelly, but just the fluffy bread stuff. So, by the way, I'm back to using Sebastian. Catville was fun to use, but the bats weren't as large. So I think this is going to be the last layer. And I'm not having any, I was getting occasionally, you can't see that, but right down there, I was occasionally, yesterday when I did my unboxing, I was getting slow connection noises, but not any today. Could just be because nobody else is using, of course I'm the only one on this system. But, okay. I'm going to go a little heavier on this color on the outside because once I fluff it, it'll spread out. So the initial plan was this afternoon to prep I've got a leg of lamb that's been defrosting, and I was going to, put that in the oven. But I decided I'm not going to do that until tomorrow. I'm not really hungry for it today. I pulled it out on Friday to defrost, so I'm hoping, it'll be good for another day. I'll probably the idea is just to make food that I can eat for the rest of the week, and be festive at the same time. So I put the silk on at this layer because it's slippery, so I want to trap it a little bit. I've got a little bit more of this Rami. Put just a little bit more on the other side. Really gotta make sure it's not twisted when you pull. So I'm gonna do. I've got white sweet potatoes. They had them at Trader Joe's. I was like, ooh, those sound interesting. And then I'm making a stuffing or dressing, depending on what part of the country you're from. Which is it's a bread stuffing. It's got mushrooms in it. It was supposed to have rosemary in it, but none of the supermarkets I went to had fresh rosemary. I'm out of dried rosemary, and I just don't like cooking a lot with dried rosemary. So I just decided I will just use more of the thyme that I have. I'm going to put just a tiny bit more of the indigo bio-nylon on. So I may cook that up tonight. And one of the reasons I don't normally cook stuffing. Stuffing's not something I make very often. In fact, I'm not sure I think I've made it like once years ago. But I saw this video on either TikTok or Instagram in which you take leftover stuffing and you put it in a waffle iron, you close it, and you make waffles out of leftover dressing. And I was so fascinated by this that I decided I had to make stuffing so that I could make the waffles. So currently I'm eating a stolen bread, Christmas stolen bread. But I may be done with that tomorrow. Or the next day, so then I can make the stuffing waffles. So I'm very excited about that. Okay, so that looks like we're done. I'm just going to close these up. Actually, I probably won't close them up because I think I'm going to got enough to make another one. So I'll make 2 of those. This one does need a name, though. So if you have a name suggestion, please put there. Yeah, hello, Merry Christmas to Stefano oh, so I was getting this one. Yeah, Heloise is not, I don't think she'd like it if I put her in a sweater. That's just not, I've never dressed up my kitties. That's just not something, I don't humiliate them like that. Though I will say I've loved the cat and dog costumes that I've seen that, like, you put them on them and it looks like a little snowman when they're walking or something. I will admit, they're very cute. I just can't imagine Heloise letting me doing that without ripping my arm off. Okay, so name suggestions, please pop them in the comments. And we're going to rip here and roll off. You can also start guessing weight if you want. Person who gets closest gets bragging rights and little trophy emojis until next week. We'll stick it right there. We'll just pick that out. This Rambouillet is so nice and bouncy. I do like that. Got a little bit leaving behind, but okay, so this is what it looks like. Okay, and I'm going to pop over to off camera for a quick second and fluff it up and roll it. I may end up with a little silk noil on it because I just noticed after I plopped this down on the towel that I use that there's a little silk noil left over from the last bat I made on the towel. That's not too bad. Yeah, it might be more blue than Northern Lights. No, well, there's that green, because they're like a tealy green, right? There we go. Oh. Yeah, I'm liking it. I'm still enamored of the new phone. You know, still upset that I had to get it, but let's see if that's gonna be flat enough. Okay, tear it out. And I'll weigh it. Oh, it's smaller than I thought it was going to be. Okay. Last chance to guess the weight. The weight is 2.24 ounces. Sometimes that Ramble can get really sort of bouncy and thick. So, unless somebody contacts me beforehand, this will be available at my end of the year sale. I'm going to have a bat sale. I might call it New Year's Eve sale. I haven't decided what I'm calling it yet. It will be on December 30th. It's looking like it's probably going to be 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 Central. There's actually a Wafa vendor party at 5 Eastern, so I want to make sure I'm done by then. But that also seems to be the time that people are picking. There's a poll on my page that's good through tonight. So if you want to have any input on what time I have it at, because I don't have to be at the party the whole time. So, yeah, so I'm obviously lazy and not willing to pick the camera back up from this position. But I'll take some photographs of this and post them and all of that. Oh, okay. Very good. Okay, so I will wish you all a very happy holiday and be safe. Enjoy yourself. Don't get too stressed out. Okay? And I will see you around on Facebook.